4 directions for Rhea Ripley if she wins Women's WWE Money in the Bank 2025. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Jennifer. Have a nice day. For the WWE family latest news update, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. WWE fans have a lot to look forward to in the coming days. Friday Night Smackdown will air later tonight, and Saturday will feature 2 premium live events, Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank. There are several exciting matches on the card, but arguably the most interesting is the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. That bout will feature Julia, Stephanie Vacker, Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, and Naomi. Out of the 6 stars in the match, there isn't a bad option for the winner. However, there is certainly one standout among the others. Rhea Ripley, undoubtedly the top female performer in pro wrestling today, is the definite favorite heading into Money in the Bank. If the Eradicator wins the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match, what could she do next? Rhea has several options with the briefcase, and this article will tackle a handful of possible options for arguably Raw's biggest star. Below are 4 directions for Rhea Ripley if she wins the Women's Money in the Bank 2025. Io Sky is on top of the world right now as the Women's World Champion. She's also a former NXT Women's Champion, Tag Team Champion, and WWE Women's Champion. Her career has been exceptionally successful. The WWE Women's World Champion and Rhea Ripley have had an interesting past. Rhea is set to be able to defeat the Genius of the Sky in singles competition, despite having tried multiple times. While one might think that this would create animosity between them, the pair has instead seemingly bonded. That bond could be tested if Rhea wins the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. She could decide to cash in the briefcase, but instead of doing it in a cheap manner, Rhea could straight up challenge for a Women's World title match at Evolution. A showdown between these 2 performers in the main event would be magnificent. Tiffany Stratton is a young performer, but her success cannot be denied. She is the reigning WWE Women's Champion. Tiffany won the title by cashing in her Money in the Bank briefcase on Nia Jax at the beginning of this year. Rhea and Tiffany may not have a lot of history together, but they seem to get along well. They were once part of a tag team match where they teamed up, but ultimately, the match ended without a conclusive finish. That bout took place on October 7th, 2024, episode of Raw, in which they faced off against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. Despite being on okay terms, Rhea might decide to cash in on Tiffany Stratton to win the WWE Women's title. She hasn't held this version of the belt yet, and considering her friendship with IYO, a surprise cash-in on Stratton could be the move Rhea makes. Who knows, it might happen as soon as on Smackdown next week. The Money in the Bank concept dates back over 20 years. The first Money in the Bank ladder match took place at WrestleMania 21, where Edge won the bout and went on to cash in the following January at New Year's Revolution. This is one of WWE's most memorable uses of the Money in the Bank contract. But arguably the other is Seth Rollins' infamous heist of the century. The Visionary waited to cash in until WrestleMania, and Damian Priest later replicated this move. No female star has waited until WrestleMania, but Rhea could change that. The Eradicator could hold the briefcase until WrestleMania 42 and make sure she is part of a headline match at the Show of Shows. Liv Morgan is one half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. She has teamed up with Raquel Rodriguez, and together they hold the record for the most times a women's team has held the title. Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan share a long and complicated history. They were once a tag team and extremely close. Unfortunately, Rhea turned her back on Morgan. Since then, Liv has gotten her revenge on the Eradicator multiple times and has repeatedly crossed the line. She even took Rhea's boyfriend and her place within the Judgment Day. The 2 have constant animosity, which could lead to Rhea making history. If she wins the briefcase, Ripley may decide to cash it in for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles for the first time ever. She could align herself to Io Sky or even Stephanie Vacker, solely to steal the titles away from her longtime rival. WWE Money in the Bank is just days away, which has naturally led to speculation about who the winners will be this time around. According to Hall of Famer Teddy Long, Rhea Ripley is the straightforward pick in the women's division match. The Eradicator is rightfully regarded as one of the biggest names in the company, not just in the women's division of the roster. Her rise to fame has been nothing short of meteoric, with her skill and talent on the mic paving the way to stardom. She has a dedicated fan base eager to see her win, and Teddy Long believes that MITB might just go her way. On the Wrestling Time Machine, hosted by Mac Davis, the WWE Hall of Famer was asked who he thinks will win the MITB ladder match. Teddy didn't hesitate before saying, according to veteran journalist Bill Apter, the Eradicator may not be the one picked to win the coveted prize at MITB. Speaking on the same episode of the Wrestling Time Machine, Apter explained why Alexa Bliss was his pick for the winner. He talked about how Alexa was no longer part of the Wyatt Six, which opened the door for her solo push in the company. He said, Alexa Bliss, they are going to bring her back in a big way. The fans want her back in a big way, and she is not with the Wyatt Six at this point. Anyway, I think Alexa Bliss is going to surprise everybody and win that. 047 onwards. It remains to be seen whether Bill Apter's or Teddy Long's predictions will come true at WWE. Money in the Bank. Tonight's episode of Friday Night Smackdown promises to raise tensions ahead of Money in the Bank 2025, with a stacked 6-woman tag team match featuring the contenders from the upcoming ladder match. Rhea Ripley will join forces with Alexa Bliss and recent NXT call-up Stephanie Vaquer to take on the trio of Naomi and 2 more recent NXT alumni, Roxanne Perez and Julia. This could either be a straightforward showcase, which in wrestling terms would still mean tension, conflict, egos, and the thirst to acquire momentum ahead of the all-important ladder match this Saturday, or the start of something far more chaotic. One element worth watching closely on Raw in recent weeks has been the growing unease between Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez, thanks in part to Finn Balor. Over the few weeks Morgan was off WWE TV to film for her upcoming Hollywood project, Finn Balor was seen aligning with Perez backstage, fueling speculation that she could be targeted for Judgment Day recruitment, much like Morgan was last year in Rhea Ripley's absence. Liv Morgan, who has a long and complicated history with the faction, appears far from thrilled with this development, and her failure to qualify for the MITB ladder match could further derange her and prompt a shocking course of events either tonight or at Money in the Bank. Liv could attempt to intervene during the match in a bid to help Roxanne, only to accidentally cost her team the win and give her archenemy Rhea Ripley, Stephanie Vaquer, and Alexa Bliss some major momentum heading into Money in the Bank. It would also splinter the heel side and add friction to an already combustible environment that is the Judgment Day clubhouse. With so many conflicting agendas at play, the tag match may offer a preview of the chaos to come, not just in the women's division, but across the Judgment Day too. Whether alliances hold or fall apart over the weekend could well shape the trajectory of Saturday's high-stakes ladder match. The underlying question heading into SmackDown isn't just who wins the 6-woman tag, but what role Liv Morgan might play if she does, in fact, involve herself, either on Friday or Saturday. Her distrust of Baylor's influence on Roxanne could push her to act, whether it's by confrontation, distraction, or unintended sabotage. If that happens, it could push Roxanne further toward Judgment Day, and further the tensions between Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor as well. It would be somewhat of a déjà vu experience, considering Morgan was also brought into the faction by Baylor's covert tactics, while Rhea Ripley was absent in the summer of 2024. Either way, Liv's emotional investment and the Judgment Day's presence continue to blur the lines between friend and foe. The briefcase may be up for grabs this Saturday, but the battle for influence may already begin tonight. As for Rhea Ripley, she has long been out of the Judgment Day vortex, is currently involved in a story with Women's World Champion Io Sky. As for whether the Eradicator should or should not win the MITB contract, fans and experts can speculate and discuss all they want. But the fans in the arena are bound to go crazy for Rhea Ripley whenever she is live and in living color.